Alright, gonna do a little video here explaining kind of epiphytes, which would be orchids, anthuriums, ferns, philodendrons. Let's see, there's even some, I think a species or two of epiphytic gingers. There's a species of epiphytic elephant ears, bromeliads, tillandsias, tropical cactus usually grow up in the trees, like the dragon fruit, ripsalis, epiphyllums, a few others that I'm not really a cactus guy. Peperomias. Let's see what else I got around here. Bromeliads, ferns. Yeah, that's about it, probably. Anyway, they attach to trees and with their roots. Sometimes, like on bromeliads, the roots are strictly mechanical and they do not do any absorption, so all the feeding has to come from inside the cup. It holds water and dead leaves and bugs and dirt and dust that may blow in. But your orchids and your anthuriums, ferns, philodendrons, the roots, even the air roots will absorb some nutrients as well as mechanical support. Anyway, this is a good, I usually mount my epiphytes on wood. I see a lot of people got them in pots. They get them in pots from Home Depot and they water the crap out of them, or they don't water them enough. Me, I water every day. I will overwater a pot to death. That's why I switched to an aeroid mix and decided to mount my plants years ago, so that I water every morning, so that in the evening they're dry, or every other day. I feed weekly, very weekly. I take my fertilizer, Epiphytes Delight, and I dilute it down to quarter strength, a quarter of what is recommended per gallon, and I spray that on once a week during the growing season. And I really don't feed in the winter at all. But anyway, so I take these plants and I take a piece of wood like this. This, I believe, is a piece of mesquite wood. I pulled out of the bottom of a dry lake, and I just took this plant, this nodosa, and I shoved it in a little crack that was down there when it was small, and the roots sent out, and over the past probably 3-4 years, it has just, the roots have clung to it. They've grown on it. And there's a little root porn for you. And it's pretty much stuck now. I'd have to break the roots to get it off. Same with this here. This is a piece of cedar that I cut out of someone's yard and just had an interesting shape. So little nooks and crannies. So I, just stuck plants where they would fit. If there's a groove, I just stuffed it in there. I didn't use no glue, no wire, no nothing. That ain't to say I don't use wire, because I do, depending on the piece of wood. There's another piece of cedar off that same tree I just showed you. And this in here is wired on. There's the wire. I just wired it on to hold it there long enough till the roots take hold over the next year or two. And then the wire will probably just fall off as it rusts through. This in here was a weird, awkward spot, but it's a cool looking piece of wood. Cedar root, that's a cedar stump, the roots are gone. And I put this Drinaria quercifolia and Dendrobium convolutum on there. Here's a piece of the crown of a pygmy date palm. This is going to hold moisture and wick moisture nicely to the plants. It's going to stay nice and moist and allow airflow at the same time. This here's a piece of cedar root, and I just took this major deerfoot fern and stuffed it into a little, crotch, and put some cocoa coir around it, and same with the cattleya. I just stuffed it into a spot, wrapped the cocoa coir around it, and this in here I kind of secured with this stick, because eventually by the time that stick rots out, that cattleya will set roots onto the wood. There's my Pyrosia longifolia. It is on a piece of pygmy date palm, and it's actually doing pretty awesome. It's got new growth right there. Some of my stuff I put in baskets, just because maybe that's all I had at the time. Little sound effects for you. Another piece of cedar root I brought home, and I just stuffed a few tillandsias in there. This here is a Cattleya. I think it's Harmony. Yeah, I forget the name. Blue Harmony or something, or Hiroshia Harmony. I think I'm going to... No, it's not. It's not. Anyway, I forget the name. It's been so long since I'd lost the name tag. I'm just going to let this grow to the tree. So I'm going to have to wrap this in the winter, but this whole little pond area will be tinted and greenhoused in the winter. There's an old fence post I found in my neighbor's pasture. Just, you know, stuff plants in it, stuff a little medium in there, and hopefully they take off. If not, well, they ain't very happy, and, you know, I might move them if I can catch it in time. Anthurium on it's Anthurium bakery on a piece of mesquite root. Here's another piece of cedar with some Prosthecia cochleata and some Ripsalis mistletoe cactus. Anyway, like I said, I rarely wire anything. I try to find a nice groove or crack or crotch of the plant and stuff it in there securely. I mean, sometimes I put a little bit of force on it to where you're probably going to be like, oh shit, am I pushing too hard? Am I squishing something? Yeah, you might. That's what I do, just to make it secure. And sometimes, like I said, I'll take the stick, wedge it between two you know, branches or something that are sticking up, or a piece of wood, and just to get it to hold there long enough for the roots to take place. And I live down south of Houston, Texas, so we have tons of humidity and heat in the summer, and everything does great here mounted. And if you overwater your plants, your orchids, I really recommend doing this. Like some of them, I don't even put sphagnum moss or no medium around them. Like this here, it's over the years I've thrown a few pieces of resurrection fern in there, which I only get it off the ground. That's this stuff right here. It's a local native epiphyte, and it grows on oak trees, pecan trees, a few other trees around here that don't shed their bark. You know, if you see it, if you see it on a tree, just leave it, please. Because, you know, if you get rid of it, if you pull it off, then guess what? Eventually, one day, you know, we're not going to have any more left. So I usually wait for a tree to drop a branch full of it, and then I'll, you know, take that branch and skin it out and bring it home. And this chunk here just happened to decide to live in my little garden here. Most of the time, it loses all its fronds, and I just chunk it up and put it in my potting medium with my aeroids or my orchids. It doesn't like it. I mean, it can tolerate some watering from your water hose, but we're on a well, so it doesn't like the calcium. So I just try to let nature water it. I leave it out here. I've tried it before on the patio where it doesn't get rain, and it eventually just dies out. Leaving it out here, if I do water it with the water hose, at least when the rains come, it'll wash the minerals and calcium out of that root mat, and it's continued to thrive. It's actually putting on new fronds this spring, and I'm kind of surprised. Anyway, if you got any more questions, you can leave them in the comments below, and hit the like and subscribe button. Later.